You're watching Public Affairs. Berkowitz is my name and politics is our game. And we are going to be doing lots of politics this evening because we take you to the Democratic and Republican National Party conventions, first to the Democratic Convention in Denver, Colorado, and then to the Republican Party Convention in St. Paul, Minnesota. It's a bit tricky because we're taping this intro a bit before we've put together the clips that will follow, but I think the two will come together. And you're going to get a sense, a little different sense than you've seen on shows dealing with what happened at the convention, because we're going to give you a sense of John McCain and Barack Obama. We interviewed both those folks before the convention, and so we're going to give you some clips of those times and events when we've spoken with Barack and John, if we can call him that, Senator Barack Obama, Senator John McCain. And then we're going to take you to the, as I said, to the Democratic Convention in Denver, and we're going to do some interviews in the background, give you a little different slice of things with House Speaker Mike Madigan and Senate President Emil Jones. Those folks are both from Illinois, of course, dealing with some Illinois issues, but also national issues. And then we'll go over to the Republican Party convention with former Governor Jim Edgar and Senate Republican leader Frank Watson. Some of that may be on the floor, so it may give you a little bit more of a feeling of what's going on there and the intensity you feel on the floor of the convention. And also, right after things were over, spoke with some commentators, analysts, Juan Williams from Fox and NPR, John King from CNN. So overall, we're giving you a sense of what this race is about. It's an historic race. The first, Barack Obama is the first African-American candidate from a major party, candidate for president, of course, from the Democratic Party. And then Sarah Palin is the first Republican nominee for vice president. So historic in many ways in gender and race, and just the vibrancy you feel from these two teams, McCain, Palin, and Obama, Biden. And hopefully here and elsewhere you'll be getting a sense of the issues, the personalities, the charisma, whatever, that helps you make a decision of which team you like here. And maybe it comes down to which person you most prefer for president, or perhaps the VP candidates will affect those decisions. Certainly we're going to be hearing a lot. We're taping this on September 7th, so less than 60 days. You're going to be hearing a lot about which party represents change or reform. Is it about the economy and who's got the best solutions to that? And is the war still an issue? Is it an issue as to who can be a commander-in-chief or the best commander-in-chief? And in addition to people we mentioned, there'll be more, so stay with us. You got all of those folks and much, much more. All right, Jay, let's roll that tape. What's your assessment? What's your assessment of Louis Farrakhan? Is he still, in your view, a leader?
Well, you know, I think that he has a following. I think that.
Are you critical of him, or are you approving?
I think the important thing for students at every grade level and every economic strata, and if we're doing that, then we shouldn't be didactic or ideological about how to best deliver that.
So I take that to mean, under the right circumstances, you, Barack Obama, possible U.S. Senate candidate from the state of Illinois, could support school vouchers and could even do so in your role as a state senator in the Illinois legislature.
No, what you can take that to mean is that I am willing to listen to these arguments and see if they're, if I can be persuaded that ultimately kids would be better off, then
you would support it.
I would support anything that's going to be better off for the children
including
of Illinois.
School vouchers, if you're persuaded.
And I understood what he means when he talks about the fierce urgency of now. If not now, what will our country look like in 4 or 8 years? What will our children's future hold? During the course of this campaign, I have been involved like never before. I am a precinct captain. I go door to door talking to my neighbors about Senator Obama.
This hotshot first-year law student from Harvard His name was Barack Obama, and I thought, well, who names their kid Barack Obama? So I figured this guy has to be weird.
She was assigned as my summer advisor. I was late that day. I don't think I made such a great impression, but she was dazzling.
When he first showed up, he was a little late, so I thought, well, maybe he didn't have his act together. But then when he walked in, he was very handsome, and he had this air of interest in him that I didn't expect.
I didn't say bring on me. So, turned out she didn't have a boyfriend, but she was very resistant to the idea of some inter-office dating. I asked her a couple times, and she was sort of pushing me off a little bit.
And then he made his big move.
Finally, there was a company picnic on the drive back. I offered to buy her ice cream. That is what put her over the top. That's where she said, this guy knows how to treat a woman.
Dan, you're speaking to Speaker Mike Madigan on August 25th, first night of the Democratic Convention. There's some rumblings coming out of the Illinois delegation with some disunity between the Clinton supporters and the Obama supporters. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's to be expected today. I think before we finish the convention, it will be resolved because we all want to leave Denver united, prepared for the November election. We simply cannot tolerate 4 more years of George Bush-type government. And so, yes, there may be some differences today. That's why we come to one central location, meet each other, look at each other, discuss our differences, but resolve the differences so that we can move forward toward victory in November.
Barack Obama is about change, right?
Barack Obama is about change. I think the country is about change. I think the majority of the country wants change. They don't want higher gasoline prices. They don't want higher food prices. They don't want inability to get credit for a mortgage for a new business. That's the change that they want. They want to move away from that.
Can it be about change, that ticket? Obama-Biden, Biden's been in Washington as a U.S. Senator for 36 years. How can that ticket be about change?
Well, because the president's Obama. The president's not Biden. Biden's the vice president. Biden will bring necessary foreign policy experience because of his role on the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the Senate.
How are you?
Good.
This rivalry going on back in Illinois between you and Roger, which seems to have been going on. The governor? Yeah,
sure.
The last 6 years. Right?
Again, it's more differences among Democrats, and relative to myself and the governor, it only relates to issues. I was not in favor of the imposition of the gross receipts tax on Illinois. I was not in favor of a 3% payroll tax on every employer with more than 10 employees. Those are issue differences, they're not personality differences.
They're not. Your decision not to attend these leadership meetings for, much of the last year, you said you don't find it productive. Is that a slap in the face of the government?
I think it's productive for me not to go to the meetings based on the interaction I've had with governors of other districts. My goal is to make those meetings productive.
You trust
I know, me being there, my interaction with the governor doesn't help the situation. I sent trusted allies, very qualified people, more qualified than anybody else in the world.
Do you trust the government?
I like to trust everybody, including you.
All right. Thank you so much, Speaker Mike Madigan. You're speaking with a delegate to the convention.
That's right.
Your name is, sir?
Eric Garcetti.
Garcetti.
Yes. Garcetti.
And where are you from?
From Los Angeles, California.
Hillary Clinton delegate or a Barack Obama?
I am a super delegate, but I support Senator Obama, and I was the chair of his California campaign.
Do you think there's any problem here in the convention between the Hillary Clinton supporters
I've been
and the
hanging
Barack
out.
Obama supporters?
I've been hanging out with Hillary Clinton supporters since I've arrived here. We've been eating together. We've been hanging out together. You can find the occasional person, I'm sure, but there's a lot of
So this thing that says 40 to 50%, only 40 to 50% of the Clinton supporters support Obama, you don't trust that?
I do not at all.
What do you think
it's overblown? I think that almost all of the Hillary Clinton supporters will come home to the Democratic Party from the Democratic primary and vote for Barack Obama, and we'll get crossover from independents and Republicans as well.
What's the most important difference between John McCain and Barack Obama?
Well, John McCain would continue on our economy, on our foreign policy, on our civil rights, a bunch of things that would completely take us away from where we need to go. We'll continue 8 years of what we've seen with George Bush, Barack Obama, restore our place in the world, help us have an energy independent economy, and would probably have a better direction domestically for us as well. That's the biggest difference.
But he's picked Biden 36 years in the Senate, and Barack Obama will be about change, which his running mate has 36 years.
Absolutely. It shows a tremendous amount of confidence that he's willing to take somebody who is not just somebody who will fade into the background. Joe Biden is a very strong and very accomplished person. Barack Obama is a realist. He wants to get things done, and he realizes that he's going to have people around him who have had that experience and who have had that record. Joe Biden is that guy, but he's always fought for the same politics that Obama has 30 years before.
Standing here speaking with Senate President Emil Jones. It's on the eve of the nomination of Barack Obama to be President of the United States. That's the Democratic primary nomination. You've set to be the mentor for Barack Obama many years.
Well, I've known Barack Obama for about 25 years, and he's a very smart, intelligent young man, and we worked together on a variety of issues prior to his getting elected to the Illinois Senate.
He said you made him the U.S. Senator. Is that right?
Well, he said I did, but
he said in fact, he told you that before. He said you could have the power to make somebody a U.S. Senator, and you said who? And he said you could make me Senate. He said Barack Obama said to Emil Jones a few years back that Emil Jones could make Barack Obama Senator from Illinois, right? Yes. U.S. Senator.
Right.
And you did it, didn't you?
Well, I and a whole lot of others. I worked with him. I strongly supported his candidacy. Because I believe then, as I believe now, he had all the tools to be a great national leader. So I drew all my support I could possibly give behind his candidacy. There's no question about it.
Now, as we're taping this on August 23rd here in Denver, Colorado, how confident are you that Barack Obama is going to be the next president of the United States?
Well, if you look around the country and you look at the issues that the American people are faced with, the economy, high gas prices, the constant war in Iraq, if the people come together and look at the issues, they would vote overwhelmingly for Barack Obama.
And what are the issues they should look at to vote for Barack Obama?
Look at the economy. Look at the continual war in Iraq. Look at the high gas prices. Look at his programs as relate to health care. Look at his program as he talk about renewable energy. Look at what he stands for.
The Republicans say, and John McCain says, his opponent John McCain says that the surge is working, violence is way down in Iraq, not only for American soldiers, but for civilians.
You must remember Barack Obama.
McCain says that was the right decision. He says we're going to win.
It was not the right decision for us to invade Iraq.
But is the surge working?
It was not the right decision for us to invade Iraq. Two wrongs do not make a right.
Okay. Even if the surge works, even if we're winning in Iraq, you still think it was the wrong
whole
move?
thrust of the surge was to get the Iraqi government to take up the political responsibility and assume command.
Are they doing it now?
I don't know. I don't know.
But if they are, and a democracy
I don't
emerges,
know. I'm not involved at that level, and I'm not a foreign relations specialist.
But you know about gas prices.
But one thing I know about the economy. I know about all the other people.
You know about gas prices.
Oh yes.
That's a big deal.
That's right.
McCain says we need to drill offshore, get the supply up, prices down.
Obama
says no.
All the experts have already indicated you can drill, and that would not solve our problem as relates to our dependence on fossil fuel. It's not going to change, and you're talking 10 to 15 years down the road. So what I'm saying, you must come up with another form of energy so it can take our dependence off of fossil fuel.
So just assuming those are the issues, war and gas prices, and assuming you're right, saying Barack is right, and he wins on those issues, but you said maybe people look at other things. What is it you're worried about they might
I'm not worried about anything.
When you say they might look at other things.
I have enough confidence in the American people that they will make the right decision.
For Molly's sake. The double.
it's just very exciting now to witness sort of the introduction of Governor Sarah Palin to the people of this country.
Well, the governor has several years of executive experience, which is important. Apparently she has no foreign policy experience. There's no evidence she's conversant with foreign policy issues. Does that concern you?
Well, you know, I think that's the case if for any governor that really, you know, is hoisted onto a national ticket. I think Bill Clinton certainly had that issue as well. When
coming out of Yale Law School, don't you think people thought Bill Clinton, he gave the keynote speech in '88, people really weren't questioning in '92 whether he knew the foreign policy issues. Maybe he didn't have experience in making decisions. Do you see the difference?
Well, no, I think that, you know, frankly, no one and a lot of people don't know Governor Sarah Palin because she's a relatively new governor of Alaska, but she has more executive experience than either of the other candidates on the other side of the ticket. I mean, she's had to make decisions. She presided over a state's economy with the state having over $1 billion budget. There is obviously issues impacting that state. The energy issue in particular, that's 20% of that state's economy. And frankly, she was very skilled in making sure that she represented the people that elected her in affecting the way that that state ran, taking on the corruption that existed in that state, and made some decisions along the way each and every day. I think that's what we're electing in our office holders, is somebody who's demonstrated judgment, can make good decisions.
So is that how she matches up with McCain? He's a reformer, he's a maverick. She's a reformer. She kicked out the incumbent bad guys in Alaska, Murkowski, right?
Well, you know, I think even more than...
Bad guy Republicans, I should say.
Right, even more than that. Yeah, she stood up to her own party, just as John McCain has done on repeated times to make sure that things happen and get done. But more than that, Sarah Palin represents, I think, what so many families desire, and that is to have the situation where you are in pursuit of a career and that you want to manage a household, you want to raise kids, you want to do everything that needs to be done with all that when you have two professional working parents. There's so many people in this country, and certainly in the suburbs and the cities and the rural regions and small towns of this country, that go through this. I think she's going to be a real inspiration to so many across the country.
I think the Republicans are going to come out of this convention not only united, but extremely enthusiastic about our ticket, and I think this is going to be a race right down to the finish. And I don't think a lot of us really thought a couple months ago we had a shot. I think now we're the favorites as we go into the final weeks.
You think favorites over Barack Obama and Joe Biden, McCain, Palin?
I do, because I think we have momentum, and the fact that Senator Obama has not been able to put this away with all the things going for Democrats this year, I think underscores that Americans aren't ready yet to go that way. And John McCain, I believe, is going to win because he is the best prepared to be commander-in-chief.
All right, now people say that Sarah Palin energizes the base of the Republican Party. Do you agree, and why is that? What is it about her that energizes that base, if it does?
Well, she's a very spunky person. I mean, it's just energy that kind of comes out of her. And, you know, I don't think it's an ideology thing, although there might be some from the far right might say, gee, this is good. Just Republicans I've talked to, particularly women Republican, who were for McCain, who are not ideologues. They weren't maybe enthusiastic. They're enthusiastic now. And it takes that to get out there and to get in those undecided, to do all the work. And I've learned a long time ago in Illinois politics that if you can get the Republican women motivated, you're going to win. Also, his time as a senator. I mean, his willingness during this last primary campaign to kind of put it all out there on the line when he supported the surge, when even many Republicans were beginning to wonder, shouldn't we just kind of gracefully try to get out of Iraq? I admire that courage. I mean, I've had to take some tough positions that weren't politically popular in the short term. But I think the American people, as people in Illinois, appreciate, even if they don't agree with you, if they think you're doing what you think is right, not what is politically expedient, I think that is the type of leadership they're looking for. And that's why I think John McCain will be successful in November.
Is this on?
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Speaker Gingrich, can you give me a quick word? Just give me a quick thought about Sarah Palin.
I thought it was an extraordinary speech, and I think she will be a national figure for many years.
You think she has the foreign policy experience she needs?
Speaking here with Senate Republican leader Frank Watson. Cindy McCain is energizing this crowd quite a bit herself, right?
Yes, she is. Cindy McCain will be a great First Lady. Very elegant woman, done an outstanding job here tonight about just introducing what John McCain is all about, telling about the personal side of their relationship. And that's important that we know those kinds of things.
What do you think the essence is of John McCain, not just for Republicans, but as he campaigns across the country? In order to, what do you think drives people to vote for John McCain for president?
I think it's character, it's independence, it's a matter of just straight talk. I think it's his military. There's a host of reasons why people will vote for John McCain. I mean, he's independent thinking. He'll be able to cross the political boundaries. I think people are dying and wanting bipartisanship. They want to see things done. They want to see people work together. John McCain has a history of that, to the chagrin of some Republicans. I mean, really, when you look back, I mean, there were people who questioned whether he was Republican enough. But those are the kind of people who get elected. Those are the kind of people who can work and get things done, and that's what John McCain will be.
So far, McCain gets the credit for maybe uniting the Republican Party so far by bringing Sarah Palin onto the ticket, right?
I would say he made the selection, and it was so McCain-like.
And risky. He's a fighter pilot.
It was very risky, but you knew that John McCain was going to do something different. I mean, you just knew that. You didn't know what. I mean, Joe Lieberman was a possibility. There were others, but this was risky, but I think it's paid off. She hit a home run last night, did a fabulous job, and I think she'll continue to do so as the campaign unfolds.
Do you think this means that conservatives who are concerned about Supreme Court appointments can trust John McCain to appoint somebody like Alito or Roberts? They weren't so sure before. Can they trust him now?
Well, I'm not so sure it's all about the Supreme Court appointments that energize everyone about Sarah Palin. But I do believe that Sarah Palin will be someone who will be an advocate for a conservative voice in this administration.
Of all the names so many have called John McCain in his years of service to America, truly, at his core, John McCain is a
mama's boy.
When you've lived in a box, your life is about keeping others from having to endure that box. You shout, you push, you lead. You left long ago the shallow of self and put your people first, your country first. John McCain.
And I wouldn't be an American worthy of the name if I didn't honor Senator Obama and his supporters for their achievement. But let there be no doubt, my friends, we're going to win this election.
Madam Secretary, I am James Durkin, State Representative, Chair of the Illinois Delegation. The great state of Illinois, the land of Abraham Lincoln, the birthplace of a man named Ronald Reagan, proudly cast his 70 votes to the only proven and tested reformer in this contest. My friend, the next President of the United States, John McCain.
There's Jimmy Durkin casting the votes. State Rep Jim Durkin from West District. There's a Western Springs. How does it feel, Jim?
A little nervous, but g'day. It was great.
Yeah. So you ready for the gubernatorial run now? You're going to announce right here you're running in 2010 for governor?
I'm looking forward to going to the swearing in January. Then I'll talk to you then, Jeff. This is a great moment. It was a tremendous honor to be the spokesman on behalf of the state for someone who I consider a very good friend and someone who I believed in many years ago, who's seen a campaign move in a million different directions. But to be here today is one of the highlights of my life, and I cannot be more honored to be chosen to lead the delegation outstanding delegation of men and women who did so much hard work over this past year to put us in this position. So,
Jim, what did you think of the Sarah Palin speech?
I thought it was fantastic. It really showed America who she's about, who she is. She told us what she's going to do, but what really impressed me the most about her is what, what's happened over the past 3 or 4 days, where she's taken so many hits. And what impressed me the most is that she's not afraid to punch back.
Mr. Rowe, is Sarah Palin ready to be president?
Yes. Got more executive experience than the junior senator from
What about the lack of foreign policy experience?
She runs an $11 billion budget, a $1.6 billion capital budget, and 90,000 employees.
Foreign policy experience.
You know what? I'm not going to be doing a news conference here. I'm going to be taking pictures. Thanks for the microphone.
Right.
Let's give these people a chance to have photographs.
Thank you.
One real quickly though, how big is Wednesday night for Sarah Palin?
Wisconsin is a really close swing state.
Sarah Palin turned some of those states, Michigan and Wisconsin and Ohio and Pennsylvania. She can identify with the working people, right?
I will subscribe to the old school until history proves it wrong, that vice presidential candidates don't deliver states. The candidate at the top of the ticket does. But if she can increase the big problem for the Republicans coming into this convention was an intensity gap in the polls. Democrats were excited, and they were more passionate about going out and voting. We're already seeing that Sarah Palin helps narrow that among Republicans.
Republicans have the momentum now, right?
I don't know if Republicans have the momentum. I know they have energy. We'll see in a week or two who has momentum. Never trust any polls the day or two after. I think there's no question that John McCain stopped Obama's momentum with this convention. Did he gain momentum of his own? We won't know that for a few days.
This is a time when Americans, 80% of Americans say the country's on the wrong track. We need strong leadership. And I think there are going to be judgments made about Sarah Palin as a leader.
This looks like the Republicans are trying to steal Obama saying, the Democrats saying, this is change you can believe in. That's what they're arguing here. They're saying this is real reform. They say she's the reformer, McCain's the reformer, not Obama. You know, in Chicago, John Cass, the Chicago Tribune reporter, says that Barack Obama is the product of the Daily Machine.
He is the product, with no question.
Well, if he is, how can he stand for reform? What has he ever done to reform? Sarah Palin took on the bad guys in Alaska and basically beat up on them. She beat up on an incumbent governor running in the Republican primary. She beat Murkowski. Doesn't she have a lead over these folks in terms of reform? And two, she's got 2 years of executive experience. How much does Obama have? How much does Biden have? Indeed, how much does McCain have? They don't have any executive experience.
Well, you know, this is apples and oranges. What you got is a situation where you have a young man in Barack Obama who has run a campaign that has taken on the juggernaut of the Clintons and taken on all the money and, in fact, raised more money.
The campaign.
That people think in terms of his ability to hold a large organization together, to make it successful, look at the campaign. And in terms of Joe Biden's level of experience in terms of dealing with foreign policy is beyond any doubt. He has been one of America's leaders on foreign policy for years, just as John McCain has been.
Why wasn't that experience rewarded in the Democratic primary? As you know, people are pointing out Sarah Palin got more votes running for mayor of a small town than Biden got running for president across the country.
I don't think Biden was the guy that was selected and had the energy that people were seeking. And I must say that, remember, the fact that he is an insider played against him in the Democratic primaries, but it's the reason that Senator Barack Obama chose him to be his running mate, because Obama saw it as compensating for his own weaknesses in terms of foreign policy experience.
So does it come down to Ohio and Michigan and Pennsylvania and Florida, or are there going to be other states in the mix?
It's interesting because last weekend Barack Obama and John McCain traveled to Ohio, Missouri, Pennsylvania. I really think that the winner of this election will be based on who wins Virginia, who wins Pennsylvania, maybe who wins Colorado, and maybe throw in New Hampshire as kind of a swing state that will determine. And I think as you look at the results on election night, whichever candidate is able to win Pennsylvania, and if that same candidate wins Virginia and maybe even New Hampshire, then he's going to be elected president. If it's a split decision, it could be a long night. But I think that those states on the East Coast will pretty much determine, I think, how the rest of the night will evolve on November the 4th.
Does somebody like Sarah Palin really help McCain in a state like Pennsylvania?
You know, at C-SPAN we really try not to give opinions on...
It's your opinion, but just the mood of the country that you perceive that's out there.
Well, I look at it both ways. I mean, I think Barack Obama is going to energize the African-American vote, and I think Sarah Palin will energize the women vote that may not want to vote for Barack Obama, might be on the fence with maybe a voter for Hillary Clinton.